Hi, I'm Ryan Szymanski, curator for Battleship New Jersey Museum and Memorial. Today's video, we're answering some of the questions you guys have left us on other videos. Just a disclaimer for those of you who asked questions, we had more questions than we had time to answer today. So the ones we didn't answer today, we're going to come back to in a future questions video, probably in a week or two. And some of your questions, we have decided to turn into their own feature-length videos. So probably sometime in the month of June, we'll put out videos that are answering those. So if you ask a question, you don't see it today, stay tuned for the next couple of weeks and we'll get to it. Our first question of the day, does the battleship still have her propellers? Iowa-class battleships have 4 propellers. The 2 inboard ones are a little over 17 feet across, and they have 5 blades. The 2 outboard ones are a little over 18 feet across, and they have 4 blades. The Iowa-class battleships, because of their high speed, suffered from vibration issues at extreme high speeds, similar to the preceding South Dakota and North Carolina class. All the American fast battleships had this issue. So you see tests with the North Carolinas and more so the South Dakotas, where they're changing up every time they go into port how large and how bladed each of the propellers were on these ships. So by the time the Iowas are commissioned, they had it down that this was probably the best way to do it, and so they don't really change it over time. Now the propellers do get swapped out. So the ones that were on the ship in the 90s were not necessarily the ones that were on the ship in the 40s. They get damaged, they get worn out. Sometimes they just, the dunce cap on top unthreads itself and the thing falls off. It just happens. If you would like to see an Iowa-class battleship propeller, we've actually got one here in Camden, not too far from the battleship. So, are they still on board? Yes. New Jersey hasn't been dry docked since 1990 when she was being decommissioned. At that time, because she was going into the reserve fleet, the propellers were left on board. Many museum ships remove the propellers when they're in dry dock because without rotating, the propeller is weighing down on the packing, the gland seal that keeps the propeller shaft from leaking into the hull. And also, because the propeller is manganese bronze, the propeller shaft is steel, the ferrous metal will sacrifice itself for the non-ferrous metal. So the steel propeller shaft will rust, the manganese bronze propeller will stay perfectly fine until the shaft rusts away and the propeller just falls off into the ocean. So, yes, the propellers are on there now. The museum hasn't decided what we're going to do when we next dry dock the ship, if we're going to leave the propellers there, or if we're going to seal the propeller shafts and remove the propellers so they can be displayed somewhere where you can actually see them. Our next question is, what did the Navy do with the 5-inch guns which were removed from the Iowa-class battleships when they were decommissioned? I'm standing on the aftermost starboard side above the handling room where one of these 5-inch guns was removed. As you can see, they had to deck above this to put in the after Tomahawk cruise missiles. So during World War II, Korea, and Vietnam, this is where Mount 59 would have been, the 9th 5-inch gun mount. In the 80s, they removed it, they decked over it, they decked over that decking over. So what did they do with the gun house itself? Well, the 5-inch 38 was still in the Navy inventory. They were still in use, but they were falling out of use. They were primarily on use on World War II era ships, which were rapidly being decommissioned. I don't know 100% what happened to these gun mounts, but if I had to hazard a guess, I would say that they're scrapped. The barrels might have been saved in case other barrels got worn out, but probably weren't, because there were already so many 5-inch barrels in the inventory. And the battleship gun mounts are completely different from the gun mounts on the other smaller ships. So the battleship gun mounts feature a 2.5-inch armored gun house, which the other ships have, like destroyers, cruisers, tend to just have splinter protection. So it's not like this much heavier gun house could be taken and used on other existing ships in the fleet that were still using this mount. None of the older museum ships that that were existing at that time were missing their 5-inch gun mounts. So I don't believe these went to any of those. So my best guess answer to this question is that they were just scrapped. Our next question on this lovely day. We talked about the battleship not having any indigenous anti-submarine capability. No sonar, no depth charges, no anti-submarine torpedoes of her own. Could her embarked aircraft perform anti-submarine duty? Absolutely, yeah. The 1980s and 90s and even through today carry anti-submarine detection equipment and torpedoes. Now, New Jersey didn't carry any systems that I'm aware of that could relay the information that this submarine finds beyond regular radio. So if a submarine picks something up on sonar, it's not going to show up on some console in CEC here. And as far as I know, the battleship had no magazines that carried torpedoes or sonobuoys or anything like that. So we could not rearm an anti-submarine aircraft. In fact, without a hangar, Battleship New Jersey didn't have an assigned aircraft embarked. It was more that we were a refueling point and a delivery point for other aircraft in the fleet. So this Cayman Sea Sprite is one of the types of helicopters we would have embarked in the 80s. It has a dipping sonar that's on a cord. It can hover above the water and lower a sonar that's attached to the water. It has sonobuoys, so it can drop a pattern of acoustic sensors into the water to detect a submarine, and it will receive that signal. And it also could carry acoustic homing torpedoes. So if it detects a submarine, it can drop a torpedo, which will go into the water and will go into its own detection mode. And if that submarine isn't very good, we'll detect that submarine and sink it. So the battleship could somewhat support aircraft like this, but only a little bit. She still has very limited anti-submarine capabilities. For our last question of the day, we have something of a treat for you guys. I'm not sure we've ever showed this space before. In response to either our Nixie video, where we took you as far aft on the second deck as you could go, or our frame numbering video, where we talked about frames forward of frame 0, one of our viewers asked if we could go all the way forward on the second deck. So this is as far forward under the bull nose as you can go. So main deck is directly above us. This is second deck. We're currently at the curve of the bow that hangs out over the water, over the front of the ship, over the stem. So on each side of me, we have the holes where the anchor chain comes down, where the anchors are attached. And forward of me here, you want to be able to see the pipe that was originally for the parabane chain. And otherwise, this is the extreme bow of New Jersey on the inside. Thanks for watching our video today. Remember, if you have questions or comments, drop them down below in the comments section. We'll answer them in a future video like this one. If you would like notifications of when we're posting new videos, which we do every week, click the like, share, subscribe buttons, and the bell icon. And if you want to support our content and the museum, check the link in the description below for ways to donate. Thanks for watching.